Hello everybody, this is Zelda Maniac 1994. Welcome to a new type of Zelda Talks video, if you will, where I will take certain Zelda matters, like, for instance, this episode is A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time, and just the problems that have arisen within the Zelda community, just in general. This topic is perhaps not discussed as much as it used to be. But one that I want to put my 2 cents in about. So basically, the common idea behind this discussion is, oh, which one's better, Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time? 2D or 3D? Which one did the formula better? The one that kind of started the typical Zelda formula? Or the one that started the 3D Zelda formula? And the thing is, with both games, they both started the same Zelda formula. Like, in the beginning, wake up, go get the 3 thingies, go to the princess or whatever, or the castle, and then do 7 more thingies, get the thingies from there, fight Ganon, save Zelda. That is a very watered down assessment of A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. And that's the formula that for 25 plus years, the games have followed that formula ever since A Link to the Past. A Link to the Past started it. But 2 games later, which is Ocarina of Time, we got the whole world in 3D. And with it, the same story, actually. The story of Ocarina of Time is really similar to Link to the Past. There are things that make it different, but it is essentially, and this is really loose, A Link to the Past 3D. That is the general consensus across the board of what Ocarina of Time is. I mean, like, as far as the basic story goes, there are things that really separate it. Like, for instance, you see Ganondorf early on Ocarina of Time, whereas in Link to the Past, Ganon, not Ganondorf, is mentioned briefly at the beginning, and then we don't see him until pretty much the very end. We deal with Aghanim, which is his alter ego, if you will, his counterpart in Hyrule, but we don't see Ganon. But in Ocarina of Time, we see Ganondorf, which is Ganon's human form, and this is the game where his origin story comes in. But aside from that, like, the whole, like, the concept of which one is better is kind of a baffling thing. It typically comes down to, first of all, I just mentioned it, it's the, like, which one started the formula, which one did it better, but also, like, combat, how did it handle open world scenario, which it didn't, neither game really did, neither game was really open world per se. Link to the Past had it a little better, but Ocarina of Time had it in 3D. It was more immersive, and, which one's more graceful, which one looks better, sounds better, holds up better over time. And the debate's been gone on since pretty much Ocarina of Time came out. Just the comparisons have always been drawn between the two. And there is a series on YouTube called Sequelitis, and it's been over for quite a few years. But basically, one of the episodes is which one, like, A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time, and roughly breaking it down, it was the creator pretty much saying Ocarina of Time is worse than Link to the Past, or rather that Link to the Past is really good and Ocarina of Time is not good at all. That's a very, very rough breakdown of it. And I listened to it, and honestly, I got kind of offended at it. And it's kind of silly, just because, like, why? Why'd I get offended at it? It's someone's opinion on, the games. But it's the sheer fact of that the whole Zelda community, over time, it's slowed down. It's mostly stopped, but there's still the whole thing of which one's better. And my opinion is that both games are better. Both games did certain things better than the other ones did. Like, my favorite game is Ocarina of Time. It's just my favorite game. And partly, this discussion, it comes down to which one are you more nostalgic for? Which one was your first Zelda game out of these two? A Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time. And it's where that's where the whole conversation comes from. It comes from the deep-rooted nostalgia. That's why, like, these two are held so high because they did so much, but more than that, over time, nostalgia's taken root so much that it has influenced the Zelda community of, like, oh, well, the first Zelda game that I played is the best, and blah, 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 blah. And, like, you know, I can see that. I can see that viewpoint. Because, I mean, I'd argue for, like, hours that Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game. But it has its flaws. It really does. I mean, it's old. That's not its flaw, but it's old. It hasn't aged very well over time. I mean, looking at it, it doesn't look very good. Like, in comparison to that versus Link to the Past, Link to the Past looks better. But, I mean, again, it just comes down to which you prefer. 2D pixel art or 3D models. And, you know, stuff like that. And then, like, the music for Ocarina of Time. It's magnificent. And, it, you know, both that and Link to the Past has, you know, its music has... It stayed perfect. I have this hand motion going on here. Just ignore it. But, and people argue like, oh, Ocarina of Time's music is uninspired because it borrowed tracks from Link to the Past. Okay, it borrowed a few tracks from Link to the Past. But a lot of the music is original in Ocarina of Time. Like the Water Temple theme, Spirit Temple theme, Fire Temple, Forest Temple, Shadow Temple, Temple of Time, Saria's song, Epona's song. There are a lot of tracks in Ocarina of Time that are original to itself. Now there are some it takes place from, like the Zelda's Lullaby and Kakariko Village. It borrows from Link to the Past. But there's gonna be stuff like that, you know, all everywhere. Twilight Princess borrowed tracks from different Zelda games. You know, so basically, what I'm trying to say is, don't go about, if you have a discussion like this, or you think about it, don't go about it as if, like, the game you're defending is the best, and it cannot be matched by any other. Especially if it's a Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time. Because it's flawed. It's a flawed viewpoint. Every viewpoint on this can be flawed, because it's all opinion-based. I mean, opinions, they can be wrong. They aren't, but they can be. It's kind of confusing on that. Because, like, you know, Ocarina of Time, again, I already said, it's, you know, my favorite. It's also my first Zelda game. I have all the nostalgia for it. Whereas A Link to the Past, I played it, you know, roughly a year ago on, you know, my Wii U on Virtual Console. I didn't really play it as a kid at all. In fact, I played A Link Between Worlds before I played A Link to the Past. So, if anything, my nostalgia would be for A Link Between Worlds when it came out in, what, 2014? I think. 2012, 2014. I can't remember. But, you know, I don't know. It's a topic that I feel really passionate about because it's very divisive for some reason. And now, you know, it's not so much brought up as much as, which one's better, Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild? Which one is better, the formulaic Ocarina of Time or the open world formula-breaking Breath of the Wild that introduced open world, and that's kind of it. It didn't really introduce much more. Well, that's a lie, but you know, and I'm thoroughly on that track of Ocarina of Time is so much better than Breath of the Wild. And, you know, it's mostly nostalgia. But there are things that I have problems with it. But this isn't about Breath of the Wild. It's about A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time. So, let me just tell it right now. A Link to the Past. Ocarina of Time. They go together. One is not better than the other. They go hand in hand. You see. Because the Zelda formula works. Because you can't have one without the other. You know, A Link to the Past inspired Ocarina of Time. You know? And it's like, it's just, you know, you can't go comparing the two. I mean, you can, but as far as defending which one's better than the other, they aren't better than the other. Because A Link to the Past handled things better than Ocarina of Time, and Ocarina of Time handled things better than A Link to the Past. But one is not better than the other. because they're on equal territory. Because they both had so much love poured into them. I mean, when Link to the Past released on the SNES, it was major. It was groundbreaking. It did so much for The Legend of Zelda in general. And Ocarina of Time, the first 3D Zelda game, it was crazy. It holds a 99 on Metacritic. It's one of the top-rated games of all time. And top-rated Zelda games, even. And to this day, both games are held with such high regard. It's amazing. And, it's just that kind of thing where, you can't go saying that Link to the Past is definitively better than Ocarina of Time, or Ocarina of Time is definitively better than A Link to the Past, because of nostalgia. Nostalgia is what ultimately, brings up this discussion. It's ultimately what makes people go, oh, it's so much better than the other. But why, though? Because Link to the Past did the formula first. Okay. Well, can Ocarina of Time, not do that? Would it make it any better? No. It should have done the Zelda formula. Okay, then, so where's the problem? It copied Link to the Past. But you just said it should hold the Zelda formula. It just comes down to that kind of stuff. You want it to be something else, but you don't want it to be something else. So, what's the problem? There is no problem. You just like Link to the Past more than Ocarina of Time. Let's face it. You either like one more than the other, but it's not like one is actually better than the other, because they're equal. They're on equal territory. Despite the fact that Link to the Past is on 2D, and Ocarina of Time is in 3D. That is the major difference here. It's 2D versus 3D. That's what it is. That's the whole discussion. That's where everything stems from for A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time. 2D versus 3D. Yeah, those fingers. Okay, 2D versus 3D. Which one's better? Neither. Alright? Neither is better than the other. Now, you can go about comparing which one has stronger story, or stronger locations. Thematically, Ocarina of Time has better themes than A Link to the Past. But that's all, opinion-based. The temples in Ocarina of Time are thematically better than A Link to the Past temples. But that's actually kind of true. When you step into the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time, it screams Fire Temple. Oh, look at all this architecture, and the music, and the fire! And Link to the Past, it's Eastern Palace. I mean, it looks like a palace, I suppose, but nothing would make me think, oh, Eastern Palace. Aside from it being a palace in the East. That's all it is. Whereas, that's the first dungeon, so comparing it to the Deku Tree, or inside the Deku Tree in Ocarina of Time, the first dungeon in Ocarina of Time, you step into a giant freaking tree, and you see the inside. You immediately walk inside, and you look down, and you see this giant web, this giant spider web. You look up, and you see, just the inside of the tree itself. It feels like you're inside of a tree, thematically. It has stronger themes for its temples, but then, A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time, it's field, Hyrule Field. A Link to the Past, you can do some more stuff in the field than in Ocarina of Time, but Ocarina of Time's open, it's more open, it's 3D. You can see everything, you can feel it. You can, ride a horse! You can ride a horse in Ocarina of Time! So, it just comes down to which one do you like more, not which one is better. Because they kind of trade blows, but they're still equal. At the end of the day, the argument is invalid. And that's the biggest thing. You can say combat's better in one or the other. You can say that. But it doesn't mean it's true. You can prefer the 2D swiping of swords in Link to the Past, where it's just, you attack the enemy and they're dead. No real waiting for them. Or Ocarina of Time, where it's more battle focused, where it's more battle centric. You have to wait for the opponent to be open to exchange blows. You can't just go swiping at the enemy and gonna get a hit in. You can't. That's not how Ocarina of Time works. Because Z-targeting, and the enemies have a bit of a better AI. They're not smart by any means, most of them. But, you know, it just comes down to which one you prefer. It comes down to that for every argument, almost. For A Link to the Past versus Ocarina of Time. Every argument is which one do you like more? Do you like more? Not which one is objectively better. It's all subjective. I don't know. It's a topic that I have felt very strongly about, and I wanted to get my opinions out there about the argument itself. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ocarina of Time is objectively better than Link to the Past. I think it's subjectively better, but that's just me. But, you know, I also love Link to the Past. I mean, I'm the Zelda maniac. I love Zelda. I have stuff hanging all around my room about Zelda, which you can't see, it's out of view. But the main point is, I love all the Zelda games. Almost all of them. Triforce Heroes, kind of not really at all. It has problems. That'll be a different discussion video I want to do later on. But I hope that I have kind of made my opinion at least understandable to some extent. This is my first video about these kinds of things, and everything I do is pretty much unscripted. Like, this whole discussion / rant is unscripted. It's just what I think about. It's just what pops out of my brain. And I think that's how it kind of should be, because, like, in some cases, if it's scripted, you can start to have a certain viewpoint stacked against another. Whereas, you know, when it's all, you know, just from what you're thinking about, it comes out a bit more freely, a bit more honest. Not saying that scripted things are dishonest, but, you know, it can be more honest, you know, if it's coming from your mouth. And, you know, not having written down over a series of, you know, time or anything. But anyways, guys, that's gonna cover it for this long-winded and kind of messed up video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, guys, this is Zelda Mate 1994 signing out, and thank you so very much for watching.